Right, for some reason my stream wanted me to review the other G2 game, so now we're going to review that. Hello once again, YouTubes. Today we're going to be talking about the Annie comp that everyone was so excited about. So, let's get into it. G2 versus SK Gaming, Week 6 of the LEC. Sejuani, Azir, Jarvan bans. I thought that the Sejuani and Jarvan bans were specific to Cold in my last review. Turns out, G2 just don't like playing against Sejuani and Jarvan. Because clearly they don't want to prioritize it because they're very strong champions, and they'd rather just take them off the field. Pardon me, fair enough. They also, apparently, don't like Azir. They don't want to be forced into playing Corki, so they ban that too. Fair enough. Right. So, SK decided to ban out Yuumi, Gragas, Qiyana. The Gragas ban is directed towards the bot lane because Yasuo plus Gragas is very strong, and SK is like, the Yasuo is not the problem, the Gragas is. So if we take the Gragas out, then you can't play your Yasuo bot lane. G2 say, lol, we have Rakan, by the way. One of the best Rakans in Europe. He's just going to instantly lock that one in. They then also have the option to go both Xayah or Yasuo. So, later on, they do go towards the Yasuo. The blind pick Tristana. This is greedy. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Unless, I suppose, given that it's a new solo lane pick and one of its strongest powers is its all-in potential in lane, maybe it is just a safe blind. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong, right? I'm happy to hold my hand up and say, maybe I don't know anything about Tristana mid lane. I'll be honest, I don't. But I just know it's got a lot of damage, a lot of pro players are playing it, and you can play it both top lane and in mid lane. So yeah. So maybe it is a safe blind, maybe there are no counters to it right now. Maybe it just exists in a state in which it can never lose. Yeah, I suppose you're right. It is a flex pick as well. You can triple flex it. That is true. You can put it bot lane, mid lane, and top lane. I've heard you can even put it jungle too. So yeah. Anyway, Olaf, not surprising. I think it's a self-made pick, but also we already talked in the last VOD review about Olaf has a very high clear speed. He can work very well with pressure. Very few junglers in the game can challenge him. It makes a lot of sense. The Karma pick, Karma is just a very safe blind. Even after the nerfs, a lot of pro players have realized how strong she still is. I don't think it's as strong and not as first pick worthy as it used to be. But they're probably going to put this mid lane because it's Pyrion, and Pyrion plays these kind of champions. One of my biggest issues with Pyrion is I feel like he as a player plays way more for the team than he does himself. And that ends up getting him in trouble sometimes, I think, which is why Karma is a really good pick for him. And then Ezreal for Crown Shot. I think Ezreal is also just a pretty solid pick into Yasuo. We've seen it a bunch of times. It makes a lot of sense. SK's bans Elise to take away the AP jungler that they drafted the day before. They also take away the Sylas because, again, they've got no AP on their comp. They know they want to go AP, so they're just like, well, let's take away their AP jungle options. Nautilus being banned away because it's considered a good pick into the Rakan, and Aatrox banned away because, again, G2 don't want to have to play Aatrox, nor do they want to play into Aatrox. Makes sense. Very similar bans to what we saw in that game versus OG. And it does feel like we're just seeing a bit of a trend with G2, which is we don't like playing against these champions. We don't want to have to first pick them just because they're strong. So we're just going to ban them away. And that makes me happy. Because one of the few teams that ever did that was, well, I always remember Moscow 5 for the fact that they always banned Rammus. And people would ask them, why do you ban Rammus? And they go, because we don't want to play against it. No one played Rammus. But they always banned it because they were like, because if anyone happens to play Rammus, that will destroy us. So we don't want to have to play against it. And I love it when teams ban things because they just either don't want to play it themselves or they don't want to play against it. Rather than, this is a really strong champion in the current meta that you have to ban away. Because I think G2 would be absolutely fine playing into all these things. They just are strong and they don't want to have to deal with them right now. That's cool. I like it. So, Nautilus, Aatrox, similar things. Nautilus really good into Rakan. Aatrox, they don't want to have to deal with. So let's talk about this side first. Braum being picked. is just a very safe bot lane with this, and I think Braum can also do decently into Rakan. You have good gank setup with the Olaf, and I think that your team fighting just becomes infinitely stronger. Right now, one of the things I think is problematic for this SK comp is their damage is actually very low, which is why, like, I don't actually really like the Poppy that much. Pardon me. What is this cable? Can I stop? Okay, that's better. I'll give you my fan. That's better. So Poppy is good into their draft just because of all the things that dash, and they're like, whoa, zoomy, 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 zoomy. Haha, no, I will ground you all. Get back to your bedroom. Problem is they have no damage. It's like a damage to this comp. It's like a protect the Olaf, Juggalaf comp. But not really. So what needs to happen is this Olaf has to get ahead early. And I think this Olaf kind of has to snowball. But the problem is, so the Annie gets locked in, right? They need AP damage, and they want to put it top lane, so they need a safe AP top laner. Let's go on to LOL wikis for a second. LOL wiki. You know what? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. Akali was left open. Could have played Akali top lane. They could have played Cassio, maybe. Cho'Gath, not really. Diana, not really. Neko, not really. Not really Fizz. What else could they have played? They could have done AP Kennen. They could have done that. They could have done AP Nico. They also could have done that. They could have done Morgana top lane. My point is, they had a lot of options, right? So why did they go Annie? Victor's a good one. I know they don't need initiation. They have Rakan. And this comp is like way more about like finding picks and skirmishes rather than going for like full-blown team fights. AP Shiv, Rumble. So, why Annie? But why? Did Annie get buffed? Did I miss a buff? Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Patch history. 9-6 was her last buff, so clearly it wasn't a recent buff. Why are you hating on Annie? It's not that I hate it, Wonder. It's that I don't understand it. Like, a lot of picks make sense, okay? There are a lot of champions and options that you had. Like, if you wanted follow-up crowd control, both Kennen and Nico do the same thing. And while they have been nerfed, like, they would achieve ultimately what you wanted. So why would you do Annie? What about Annie is good? And why is Annie suddenly good? That's what I don't understand. Like, because Annie can play into Karma, right? But so can Nico and Kennen. And I'm not sure I would call Annie a safe blind either. Oh, she's good into Nah. But do they have Tib? Okay, so Wanda's gonna be really useful and tell us absolutely nothing. That's what's gonna happen. Okay. But do they have Tibbers? That is why they played Annie, because their comp needed Tibbers. Anyway, so if we're looking at this comp and we're looking at what G2 want to do in the early game, they don't have push bot versus Ezreal Braum. They do have push Annie into Poppy, they do have pushed Tristana into Karma. So they can play around the top side of their map. They can potentially look for dives with Annie, but obviously that's very risky. But what Annie will look to do is get the early push, and then have the wave bounce back. And then you'll look to set up a play around level 4 with Annie's stun. Just wait until you see Annie Ivern combo. Okay. You should do Annie Ivern Yorick, and then everyone has a pet. Anyway, so yeah, they want to play around top side of the map. Meanwhile, SK, they do have a strong bot side. Maybe they look to set up a dive, but I think it's really difficult. So these two ideally want to get an early push, and then they want the wave bounce back to them, and then they want to try and make a play on these, force some summoner spells. I think Olaf can't really do much mid. I think the only priority lane they have. So like ultimately this, I don't like this draft from SK because they've kind of put a lot of responsibility on the Olaf to get ahead early. However, they don't have the lanes in order to help Olaf get ahead early. Like, what gank setup do they have? Maybe Karma lands W. Oh, against a Tristana? Well, I'm just going to rocket jump out. Maybe against an Annie? Well, she's just going to stun you and walk out. Also, her range is insane. I don't know if a Karma's ever just going to be able to walk up to you and W you. And like Poppy, if you like flash make a play, maybe. But like, you have no gank setup outside of mid bot lane. So you kind of force SK to have to play through their bot, whereas G2 can play through both top and mid. Because that's where they have push. Alright, well, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do. So we know that SK swap. We know that they put the Karma top lane to make the matchup easier, and Poppy should have a better time up against Tristana. Not in terms of laning phase, that's still horrible. However, the risk of an all-in is much lower, because your steadfast presence interrupts the rocket jump, which is where a lot of your early damage comes from. So Perks and Mickey giving that jungler a push once again. I think it's really important against the likes of an Olaf. Yanko's doing a similar path where he's doing his Krugs once more. It's not too unsurprising. He wants level 3, probably off of 3 buffs. Meanwhile, Selfmade is just clearing through his whole bot side jungle. I am curious if you have to start on blue as Olaf. I don't think you do. But in order to maximize your clear speed, having blue buff is obviously very valuable. So, Yanko's doing the same path on Lee Sin as he did on Elise. Red into Krugs into blue. This should give him level 3. Yep. Wait, did they get early push? I don't think they did. It's actually pretty neutral. That's quite surprising. I guess it's... Oh no, there it is pushing. It is pushing. Mickey doing a good job of zoning them. Alright, so Yankos does a full topside clear. And they're trying to gain information on where Selfmade is. So the fact that those are missing suggests... Oh, look at that. Look at the big brain on Yankos. He's like, this guy's Krugs are gone. We know that he started on blue. If he's done his Krugs and he started on blue, then he must have done a full clear. Which suggests that he might be in the top rush. He's either base or he's top rush. He's one of the two. And the fact that he's running Conqueror rather than Predator suggests that he's more likely looking for a gank. Yankos, big brain jungler. Wait, why did he ping this? What's this ping for? Me no es comprende. When did he ping this? Who pinged this? Wonder, who pinged this? What was this ping? Why did he ping this? I don't understand this ping. Alright, so... Oh, I was wrong. Karma actually gets pushed against an Annie early. I suppose that makes sense, because your Q hits all the minions, whereas Annie's Q only hits one. He stuck around, tried to gang top, relieve some of the pressure. Aha! Self-made comes bot. This is good because the wave's in a garbage spot for Mickey and Perks. Oh, Yankos, you still haven't based yet, have you? What are you doing? Alright. So he like backs off. To be fair though, I'm not sure what Pyrion is thinking here. Because I suppose he doesn't know that the full top side has been cleared, like I do. So I am cheating a little bit. Ah, he walks into stun range. Oh, Yankos. I praise you and then you miss your cue. Wah, wah. He almost dies there as well. Yikes. Selfmade still attacking bot. Good job. Zone them away from the farm. I like this a lot. You can also just go straight to Drake if you want. I think you should. He's Olaf. Alright, fair enough. This is where he ores in mid lane. Yep. He's like, whoop, woo, no, woo, no. Outplayed. Get obliterated, Caps. You deserve that. So Olaf is tearing through his jungle. He's really far ahead. He just hit level 5 and that is really good. SK is in a good position. Yankos realizes that his jungler is gone. Wait. So he goes straight to his Raptors. Bear in mind, this is the first time he's cleared out his Raptors this game, so he kind of needs to do it. It's important. So then, he sneaks around the Krug, the little Scuttle Crab, so that he can set up a dive bot, because, okay. This dive is not good, and I'll tell you why it's not good. So typically, when you're setting up a dive, you want to stack up a wave, right? So you want a wave to effectively slow push. You want to make sure you have teleport ready. And then you want to have your jungler in position. They have 2 minions. They have 2. And Crown has enough mana to use his E, I think. Yeah, he does. And SK have 2 teleports. So Perks ends up using all of his summoner spells. This was a bad dive from G2. And they got punished for it, as they should have. And one of the advantages of that TP was it helps Pyrion and Sakurai swap. So that they keep in these better matchups. Because they tried to put the Tristana top lane. But then G2 swapped themselves. So now we get a replay of the 1 versus 1. I don't know if I can break this down. It's really obvious what happened. Wait, what? Is there a... Wait! Oh yeah, the control ward is under the ward. Okay. You can just about see it because of the little eye. The little eye. So this is what all supports do on their first base. They roam mid lane. Because why not? So Yasuo is bot and he still has TP. Sakurai's under his tower. Jungler is around. They give Pyrion blue. They know where Dreams is because he gets spotted out on a ward. Mickey's like, I can't defend this ward because it's 2 versus 1. And then they all in Pyrion. And Pyrion, because he has no flash, because he burnt to top lane, ends up dying. I mean, like, I'm not sure I can blame him for that. He wasn't well, I mean, I can, but he wasn't expecting the all-in power. And he died. Yasuo roams up bot. Again, though, look at this. Look. Tell me another team that does this. Yasuo's like, oh, stuff is happening. I will sacrifice my wave to move up through the river first. And so these two are immediately forced to disengage because there's going to be a numbers advantage. They forced the flash out of Dreams, all because Perks roamed up. It cost him some farm, but he thought like it was worth it. And he doesn't even lose that much. And now they get to go on to Crownshot, who's trying really hard to shove this wave out. And oh no! He died. Oh. That was pretty bad from SK. But it was pretty good from G2. And again, I really want to highlight what This is why Perks is a very good AD carry, because he does stuff that a lot of other AD carries don't do. He roams in windows where no other AD carry roams. Now, look at the map setup. They don't have push on mid yet, but they do have push on top. So they feel relatively safe in doing this. Yanks is really deep. Wait. So they know where the Olaf is, so they get push in mid first, and then Rakan roams up. Because they know that Crown Shot is dead, so they can just leave Yasuo in the 1 versus 1. They then just like scout out, see what's going on, and he continues to push. They're telling Annie, keep pushing, Annie, keep pushing, Annie, keep pushing, which is going to stall. Because they're just trying to give Annie plates. And SK is forced to bring 4 people here in order to defend. But it has allowed Tristana freedom in order to push in this mid wave as well. So they get the push in mid, they get some damage on top. And Yasuo is just sitting bot lane. We have a play. Replay. This replay isn't that helpful. Crown Shot tried to push a wave when he shouldn't have. Is the TLDR. Sorry, you'll know what when I speak a lot. Happens when I cast all the time too. But I have a cough button when I cast. This is where we talk about how quickly they snowball their gold leads. So, what G2 want to do now is... So they have TP on Wonder. So if I were them, I would look to try and force a play onto Drake. I would want to send Wonder back top. I would want to push out bot and mid with Trist and Yasuo. And then I would use Jankos and Mickey to move into the river, gain vision, and set up for Drake. That's what I would do. What will G2 do? Okay, so Mickey and Jankos moving into river. They've sent the Tristana top. I wonder if they know that Pyrion doesn't have teleport. You would assume so. They're just fighting for vision right now. Pokes is going to push out bot, move with his jungler into the river. Caps near the Orzin Pyrion, so he's generating pressure top. But notice how Croucher has to catch that wave. They're going to keep pushing in mid. They want to keep this pushed up. Good use of the wind wall in order to do that. And then they start the Drake. Big brain Betty. Look at that. Look at that. And they use the TP from one to get back into lane sooner. I guess they keep Caps top because they know that he can win the 1v1 and threaten the tower. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, another G2 special. So typically, if you know the Drake is going down, the bot lane would return to bot. That's what a bot lane does. They just go bot lane and they farm. Not Perks and Mickey. These boys like to roam. So they utilize the fact that they have control wards in the river to move through fog. They set up through mids. Annie flashes, Tibbers. They get the knock-up. Insta-kill. Boom. Efficient use of their time. So good. So good. That's greedy. Oh, this is greedy from Yankos as well. Because he takes the kill. And then he dies. Because the tower is stacked up so much. Should have just given it to Wonder. Holy smokes. Now the game is over. And this is... Alright. Perk says he's really good at Yasuo. Last game we saw him overextend. This game he failed to 1v1 in Ezreal. I'm just saying. Hey Proxy Fox, thank you for the host. We're marveling in G2's fantastic League of Legends right now. So they're just keeping Caps top lane. Because he just wins the 1v1. As you can see. So he's just like, get out of my lane. Oh, now they're going for the collapse. So, the question is, what does G2 do? So again, let's think of this through. Teleport is being sent top. Olaf is coming top. They don't have vision. What? That's the volume. I don't know why I'm doing that. They do know that Braum and Poppy are making their way up top lane. So, they don't have a wave mid that they can use, which means that Wonder should consider roaming up towards top so they can get a collapse so they can look to threaten the Herald. Perks, I think Perks needs to push out bot and actually move up to mid. Because ultimately Rift Herald should be the play that they're looking to challenge for. Oh, Pokes is going to reset rather than play for plates. Okay, they choose the same thing because he gets to spend his gold. But I called it. I did say they want to move up. There's no point playing towards the wave. This is the best play that they can make right now. This is the best play. So Annie actually chooses to stay mid so they can continue to get priority. And notice how now they can threaten a collapse, which is why SK can't commit to the Rift Herald. Because mid will get pushed in and then they'll get collapsed on. This has given Jankos the opportunity to move into the river, but he doesn't actually have control over this area yet. So Selfmade gets the flank. Woo! See what I'm saying though about damage? They just don't have any. Good chain CC. This was a mistake from Jankos, in my opinion. Because he doesn't have control over the river. The river doesn't belong to him. Because the rest of his team doesn't have access to it. So if the SK wanted to, they could just send 2 people, turn around immediately, and collapse on Jankos. Which is exactly what they do. Because again, the Annie and Rakan don't have access to the river. They get forced out. Funnily enough, Dreams does have to flash, because I think he gets stunned by Wonder. So he's afraid of getting all in. But this was a mistake from Jankos. Because again, he does not have priority. It's not his turn. Come on, that's greedy. That's not good League of Legends either. So what's the point of this TP? Oh, I think they think they're surprising Annie. But there was a control ward there, which spotted them out. I love that they're keeping Caps in a side lane. It's just like, you just play League of Legends by yourself. The rest of us will win the game. Nice. So now, look at the safety in this play, alright? So, Jankos clears out his blue buff. Why wouldn't he? There's nothing else left to take on the map. Perks and Mickey guarantee mid-prio. So this is basically an overextension from Sakurai because he doesn't have jungle support. And the topside river does not belong to him. So you can see that this is a mistake. Because look, they get to move first. Jungler is on the bot side of the map. And Rift Herald is alive, which means the G2 are way more likely to play around this side of the map because this is the objective that they should be trying to take. So with him gone and those two trying to rotate to save him, they have no one down bot. Wait, oh, the Karma died. Ha, that's why. The Karma got killed. That's why they have no one bot. They have no one to hold the Tristana bot, and they end up losing 2 towers. G2 play with pressure exceptionally well. Exceptionally well. Oh, man, that's so sad. Oh, so much damage. So now Drake is back up. Tristana's bot. No teleports available, which means that with top already pushing, the rest of G2 will likely just group up mid, force the push, then move down to secure the Drake. Meanwhile, SK, they're not really in a position to contest. They don't have any teleports available, so the best thing they can do is hope to trade it for a tower somewhere else on the side lane. So I feel like Pyrian should try and go top and start pushing that wave out. Because G2 are assuredly going to go to this wave. So as we said, they're grouping at mid. They'll look to try and get this push on. Wonder's actually going up top. I suppose his TP is up relatively soon. But he's moving through fog, threatening a pick. Are they really going for this kill? Alright, Drake is up and they chose to go for a kill instead. I'm not really sure what objectives they can convert off the back of this. I suppose they do have Rift Herald. And this does allow escape, but this is why this play is greedy from G2. Because they could have really easily moved down to the Drake themselves and secured it. The advantage they do have is that they've got Rift Herald. So they're way faster on any play that SK tried to make. And now they can actually threaten the inhibitor. So I called it greed. Maybe G2 is just so next level that they were thinking that many steps ahead. Meanwhile, Caps is just doing his thing. And they secure another tower. Oof. High level Annie mechanics. Let's get a slow-mo of that. This is why they call him Wonder Where. Wonder where your face went. Boom. It tastes like burnt stuff. I think that's the quote anyway. You taste like burning. That carry Olaf isn't really doing much, is it? It's fascinating how G2 are playing this game. But like, yeah, they made the decision, you know what, we don't care about Cloud Drake, we have Rift Herald, if we find this kill top, we can easily push it. And notice how they used Caps to push out top, and then he immediately went back to mid. They've just been playing this game like as a 4-man clump, with Caps just generating pressure everywhere else on the map. I'm not sure I'd call it split pushing, but it's kind of like split pushing. Just not quite split pushing. It's like a weird Tristana pushing. So, let's think about what G2 want to do next. Well, with top inhib gone and no neutral objectives ready for them to play around, they want to try and threaten these two tier 2 towers. So in order to do that, they'll group up as 3 and push in mid, and then they'll use the priority that they gained in mid in order to move through the bot side jungle and start threatening that bot tier 2. Then they'll kind of dance between the two towers and slowly chip it away at them, waiting until the next objective spawns. In the meantime, they'll steal away enemy jungle camps to deny them as much gold as possible. They're actually going top. So, based on what we just said, they're doing something different from kind of what I expected, because I thought they would look to gain priority mid. I think this game, they really just like killing Pyrion. There's my analysis. They just like killing Pyrion. Because the better play to do here is to push mid. And instead, they just try and kill Pyrion. Now they push in mid. Mickey's forced to flash. Alright, this game wasn't quite as clean as the Origin one was. Alright, what the hell? This isn't good League of Legends either. Yeah, you deserve to die for that, because this was greedy as hell. Yeah, this is super bad. It is super bad. Even if they get this kill, look at everything they had to use to get that kill. This is not good. They all deserve to die here. Also, that wasn't Mickey's sacrifice. He just killed himself. Yeah, they can still push because they're really far ahead in gold. This isn't fair. G2 should get punished more. That was greedy. Alright, the problem for SK now is that they did lose a lot of HP in that dive and they didn't choose to reset. So you can see that while the rest of G2 are kind of backing, Perks and Wonder is still healthy enough, and Wonder literally has everything. So Dreams oversteps. He dies. Crownshot still has low HP, and Tristana is flanking. So while the all-in is happening, Tristana catches Pyrion out, and then they can threaten Crownshot as well. So what was initially a terrible play by G2 ended up working out. Number one, because of how much gold they had, but mainly because SK chose not to reset. And again, Crownshot chose not to reset, so he died. So they inevitably get the tier 2 tower. So while I did expect them to play towards the tier 2 tower, that's definitely not how I expected them to do it. Here's me sitting there praising them, saying they play around pressure so well, and then they do that. Things like this could cost G2 though, in all seriousness, because they've done this in like big games too. I mean, it's always good and it's fun to watch them having fun, but if you want to find a genuine criticism of G2, they do often make over-aggressive plays. And even though they're stomping against a better team, that dive really could have punished them, potentially. There's no guarantee for sure, because, you know, they do have an 8,500 gold lead. But for most of this game, they've played it very well. For most of this game. My team is trolling. Your team is in fact trolling, Wonder. So now they push in all 3 lanes. What Annie will do is push in mid and probably move through this way in order to get to bot. Well, I guess they don't need to. They're going to keep splitting up the map. Ooh, they actually tried to engage on Wonder. That was a pretty good engage, but They're too far behind in gold. Again, they don't have any damage either. Self-made does all their damage. And he's dead. And then this is what G2 always do. They just try and kill you on the Nexus. This is not limit testing. Do not give them that excuse. That was greed. There was no testing involved. That was purely a matter of, hey, we can dive this tower. Sure, why not? Do not give them that benefit of the doubt. They could have closed this game out exceptionally cleanly. But they chose not to. I mean, the fact that they're having fun, it's up to you whether or not you want to criticize them. But I have other examples of them making very greedy plays. I mean, they even did it against Fongru Buffalo. Problem is, these guys do have too much fun sometimes. And I would say that that's one of the biggest things that they need to be cautious of in serious games. And the problem is, I think they all encourage each other, so I don't think there's necessarily one person who's responsible. But they're also just very, very, very good. So, but what we mainly learned from this game was, again, we got to see the difference between Perks and so many other AD carries and how he actually actively roams around the map and he sets up plays with his support. The two of them are really good at finding opportunities around the map. And again, like, I think this game just reinforces how great this team is at finding very small opportunities and turning them into something much bigger. They also showcased how well they play around pressure. And while I do think they made a couple of greedy plays, I feel like that they showcased an ability to like think very far in advance and how to push their lead. So like the two VODs that we've watched have basically just reinforced G2 is a very good team, but I hope that you've been able to see what about them is so good. And it's very much about the fact that they're often thinking ahead. They use windows of time where they get to make a play in order to very efficiently, and they're very good at finding these windows. And I think that as a team, they are very smart in how they move around the map, how they utilize pressure, and it's every time they push past the halfway line when they should be in danger. Notice that there's always someone there to back them up and cover them. And they play the whole map very well. I feel like that they're constantly talking to each other. They're constantly aware of what's going on, where it is, and they're also just very good players. So, I think ultimately, well, I think OG had more opportunities. If Alfari doesn't die 1v1 top lane, that game could have been a little bit different. But I think, I mean, it's tough to say. I don't necessarily think SK or OG played much better than the other. I was kind of disappointed in how Cold played. I think he made a couple of really poor decisions. But I also didn't really like SK's draft. I don't think it was good. I just really hope teams can challenge G2. I really hope they can make them sweat. Because I think that's the kind of practice that they need. They're a really good team. I mean, the problem is SK couldn't make a proactive play anywhere. The only lane they could look to set up on was bot lane. And while they were setting up plays bot lane, their top lane was struggling, and the top lane was losing flash. And meanwhile, their mid and top kept swapping so that they get the best optimal matchups. And Olaf was just kind of like, bruh. So they never been able to find any lanes. I don't think Olaf had any like real pressure that he could look to leverage. So yeah. Anyway, that's the G2 review. We looked at them versus Origin today, and that's it versus SK. For anyone watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. I do VOD reviews every Monday at 6 PM CEST, so be sure to tune in next week when we look at week 7. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm going to stop recording now. Goodbye.